Hello.
Oh, well, welcome back to part two of Dr. Caligari. Um, yes, movie review, obviously.
Yeah,
What else would you be watching?
of course.
Anyway, so the town clerk was the first one to get his fortune told by Caesar. The what is the term for this condition he has?
It's
No,
somnambulist.
somnambulist,
Yeah, somnambulist. That's right.
and
Yeah.
basically, I think it's just a sleeping disorder.
Yeah,
That
it's
people
like
have.
I don't know if it's actually
Yeah,
real,
I
but
don't know, but they call him Caesar
yeah.
or Caesar, and anyways, yeah. So he wakes up and tells a fortune, and anyone who gets their fortune told by this guy is murdered.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So the first person murdered was the town clerk, and the second person murdered was Alan, Francis's friend. He wanted to go to the fair and he wanted to go see the shows, and they went and saw this show, and he got his fortune told by Caesar, and he was murdered. And those were the two murders, and
And
there's
people
this,
are looking for this killer.
yeah, and
They catch a guy.
yes, this guy, this really creepy guy, he's like walking around.
Well, they're
over
all
here.
creepy.
They
Everyone
are
in this
pretty
movie
creepy.
is fucking creepy. Like they all either look manically depressed or just really insane.
Yeah, but so this guy is on his way to kill this old lady, and he gets caught in the act. And they arrest him and charge him for the other two murders, and they're going to put him in jail for this murder, or well, attempted murder.
Yeah.
And he says, yes, I tried to kill this old lady, but I swear to God,
did.
I had nothing to do with the other two
Yeah.
murders. I was going to kill this lady and hope that they pinned it on this murderer, but he's like, I had nothing to do with it. So they lock him up. They don't really believe him, you know.
And the meantime, we're watching Dr. Caligari feed this Caesar. He's like feeding him.
Yeah, he like sits him
and
up,
then
and this
puts
guy's
him-
just sleeping.
Yeah, and then he puts him back in the box. And
Yeah, because the police come knocking on the door. The suspect is Caesar. At one point, they suspect him. So they go to check it out, and they're knocking on the door, and Dr. Caligari's feeding him while he's sleeping.
Yeah.
And the cops knock, so he pushes him down, shuts the coffin, and goes answers the door and says, "No, you can't go in." And I like his. Actually, Dr. Caligari almost reminded me of the Penguin off Batman.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. That's totally what he looks like.
Yeah, and the girl that I had class with commented and said that Dr. Caligari was a little more freakier.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because Penguin had those hands.
Well, yeah.
Plus the teeth.
But
man.
Dr. Caligari had the creepiest eyes ever.
He did.
But I mean, everyone in that movie did. So
yeah.
it's kind of.
And well, the makeup they used, I don't know if they used makeup. It's like they just smeared dirt on his face, but it brought out his wrinkles and stuff, and he's just like.
Yeah, he's creepier than Caesar too. Right? Like
yeah.
And the thing about Caesar, he's a monster, right? And I guess the thing about being a monster is when you have a female crush, it doesn't really work out for you.
Yeah, no.
And he breaks into what's her face is.
Well, because anyway, let's hold on. He
Okay.
was a suspect, and the police went to go see him, and he was there, and it's like, no, this guy sleeps. He doesn't do anything. And there's a part in the movie where you see Caesar going to kill Jane.
Yeah.
And because she got her fortune told. She wanted to know where her father was, Dr. Olson. And Dr. Caligari's like, well, wake up Caesar. He'll tell you your fortune. And she gets all freaked out. I was like, well, okay, what's going on? But now I understand. He said you're going to die tonight or something.
Yeah.
And she got all freaked out and ran, and Dr. Caligari starts laughing. And anyway, so yes, Caesar is going into Jane's room, and he's got the knife, and he's like going to kill her, but then he stops, and then he like reaches to grab her, and then she gets up, like freaks out, and then it's like he's trying to rape her or something, and he's just like, he grabs her chin. That's what it is. He's just like on her.
It kind of made me wonder too, because I know that this was an old movie, and it made me question when were they allowed to show above the waist television, because then again, this is a movie. And I noticed that in the old monster movies, there is a sense of sexuality in there somehow. Like I don't know why the monsters always seem to somehow like they're just fucked looking, but they somehow have this idea in their heads, like they're always falling in love in these old movies. I don't know why. And so Caesar's
love has been since the beginning of time.
I guess. Well, even monsters can love now.
Yeah, they can.
But that's when Caesar is carrying this chick on his whatever. He's running around.
Yeah,
town
well, he
and-
does. He ends up stabbing her in the side, and people hear her screaming or whatever, and they're waking up. So Caesar grabs her and walks away, and he gets to a point where he's walking down the street that looks like a slide, and he like just can't carry her anymore, and everyone's gaining up on him. So he drops her and continues to run, and the first three people stop to check on Jane, and it's like, man, the killer's getting away.
Yeah,
But so these three people are like checking out Jane and blocking everyone else that are trying to run by.
Yeah.
I think they were all police. They were all wearing the same little outfit.
Yeah.
So they squeeze by and they keep running and they lose them. Like, and the stupid thing is that Caesar just like gets to the end of the street and then he like walks around and then falls over.
Yeah.
And then the cops can't find him.
Yeah, that's right.
He's lying right there.
Yeah, no kidding. He's sleeping again.
But this is the weird thing. So they get Jane, they take her back to her room. She's kind of like waking up. She's okay, and they ask her like, "Who was it?" And she said, "Caesar. It was Caesar." Yeah. And so
we were watching him the whole time. That's what they said.
Well, and there was a cop outside of Caesar's window, like where he sleeps all the time, and Dr. Caligari's sitting there sleeping himself on the chair, and it looks like Caesar's in the coffin sleeping. Yeah. And the cop's like, it couldn't have been him. I was just watching him. Yeah. And that's when the police come, wake him up, and Dr. Caligari is again like, no, you can't come in, no! Yeah. So they barge in there, and
they don't find him. He's gone. He's a dummy.
Yeah, they picked up. It was a dummy.
At first, I thought they lifted like the real guy. I thought that's what they were going for, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Like
and
they
then,
just lift him up. So
I was like, because they literally were like,
they just picked him up, and
he was solid. Like, like that. I was like, you gotta be joking.
But yeah, and then they shook him and dropped him, and they kind of walked away, and they busted him, and that's when Dr. Caligari just took off and ran, and someone followed him into this psychiatric ward place, eh? There's a couple doctors there, and they're like, the guy's like, do you have this is Francis. He's like, Francis followed him and said, do you have a patient named Dr. Caligari? And the doctor's like, no. And another doctor comes, and Francis is talking to him. He's like, no. And they said, the director just got in today. You want to go talk to him? And Francis is like, yes, let's go talk to the director. And that's when they go, and Francis realizes that the director of the place is Dr. Caligari.
Yeah,
He's just under a different name. Yeah. And so he starts. We're in part 2, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
And we're like getting to the end of the movie here.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
It's a silent film. It wasn't very long. So.
No, like I said, or like we said, it's vague, and you kind of get the point of it.
Yeah, basically.
But anyway, so they find out that, or Francis finds out that this is Dr. Caligari, so he leaves in like a panic and like faints at the main room there. Yeah. And the doctors grab him. Are you okay? And he's like, that is Dr. Caligari. Blah, blah, blah.
And he starts freaking out.
Yeah. So they decide to just let Dr. Caligari do his thing and go to sleep. And when he goes to sleep, that's when they go in and raid Dr. Caligari's office. Yeah. And the funny thing is there's like Francis and 3 of the doctors, hey? And they're like looking through these books trying to find evidence or whatever, and then they find the Dr. Caligari's diary or whatever, hey? It's like a book on all this stuff. And anyways, when they go to read it, they flip open the book, and all 4 of them, I was about to say 5, but all 4 of them like get right down, like on the page. It was like they were like this close to it, and the other 3 like were that close. And then when the little cue card pops up, it's like 2 sentences.
No, but you know what the dumb thing was that really bugged me is, you know how it's supposed to be his like diary thing? Yeah. Why does it talk about him as like he's talking about himself as a third person? Yeah. Well,
no, it's because it was like he read about this story, and then he wanted to know what it was like to be Dr. Caligari. Oh. So he had to become Dr. Caligari.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, so that's what it was. He read about this story, and he wanted to understand the whole idea and everything. So he was like, how do I do this? I got to become him. And that's when he starts freaking out, and they start writing Caligari everywhere.
Yeah, that was, he's just like, I was asking Sam, I was like, so what do you think of that? She's like, I think that means he went insane or something.
Yeah, that's probably the point where he went insane. And yeah, so he started looking for a guy that just slept and tried to see if he could take over his mind and make him kill people at his will.
Which is kind of cool idea.
And that's what happens. He meets the guy, he takes over him, and gets him to kill for him.
Yeah. It's a good show.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. We
And-
will see you in part 3.